Hello, and welcome back to an ongoing series in which I take characters from your favorite games, movies, anime, and other media, and by process of investigation and logic, try to figure out what class they would be in D&D. In this episode, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the magical world of Harry Potter, and putting a lens over the titular character of the series, Harry. In this particular episode, we'll be using both the books and the movies as reference material, and our determinations will be based exclusively on the events that transpire during the first 7 titles of the series. I know that Harry Potter and the Cursed Child has been an established part of the Harry Potter canon since 2016, but that story is set 19 years after the events of the Deathly Hallows. If only for that reason, I would say it is fair to assume Harry could well be a completely different class after that much time. And this is your spoiler warning. This video will contain spoilers for the first 7 titles in the Harry Potter series, so if you haven't read or watched this series and you want to save the surprises for yourself, then please add this video to your watch later list and come back to finish this video another time. You have been warned. Now with all that in mind, let's get into it. So, Harry Potter. It's a timeless series that's touched the hearts of thousands upon thousands of people, and whether you love it or not so much, you can't deny the impact it's had on the world. People of all ages, backgrounds, and cultures can relate to these works, and are all able to take something away from it, if even it's just the faint, childlike hope that maybe they too will get a letter from Hogwarts in the mail someday, promising to whisk them away to a world of wonder and magic. And magic is right. A world of witches and wizards, where the extraordinary is commonplace. Sign me up. But there it is, right? Wizards. What D&D class would Harry be? We just said it, right? In fact, they say it repeatedly in the movies. He's a wizard.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Harry is rescued from a life of abject misery by being given the news he is in fact a wizard, and is going to be attending a wizarding school for wizards to learn how to wizard, like wizards do. Pretty wizard. So why am I making a video about this then? Well, let's take a closer look, shall we? Let's go ahead and define a wizard by D&D standards. According to D&D Beyond, a wizard is a scholarly magic user capable of manipulating the structures of reality. Wizards, by D&D standards, are characterized as being able to cast spells, with their primary ability being based on intelligence, with intelligence and wisdom saves. They're also proficient with small weapons like daggers, light crossbows, quarterstaff, slings, and darts, as well as any 2 skills among arcana, history, insight, investigation, medicine, and religion. There's a whole host of other qualities wizards develop as they level, but for just a surface-level glance, I find it kind of strange that none of these qualities really reflect Harry in either the movies or the books. If you know him, you know that Harry is in fact a very average student at Hogwarts. He honestly doesn't excel at much outside of playing Quidditch and having an aptitude for the defense against the dark arts. Now, no one's going to bat an eye if the party wizard doesn't wield a quarterstaff or a dagger. Their usefulness typically stems from their spellcasting, which Harry is able to do. But I still find it kind of strange that of the potential skill proficiencies available to wizards, none of these really jump out at me when it comes to Harry. Harry is very average. He doesn't have a broad understanding of arcana, history, medicine, or religion. He's not even very insightful, and is not a great investigator by any stretch. Most, if not all, major plot-driving conclusions that our story protagonists come to are made by either Ron or Hermione. No offense to Harry, but most of the endings in the series are a result of Ron and Hermione figuring out in which direction to point the Chosen One, and making sure he's equipped with the right tools and knowledge to take out the BBEG. Harry rarely ever even knows how it is he saves the day, and getting to the climactic battle scene is rarely a result of his own efforts. The entire 7 books essentially revolve around other people directing Harry to go from point A to point B, with him whining about not knowing why he's there. This definitely doesn't look like someone with proficiency in Arcana or Insight, let alone any of the wizard proficiencies. So what is he? If not a wizard, I mean, the use of the word is more an umbrella term in the Harry Potter world anyway, right? Really, being a witch or wizard in the Potterverse is just another word for a human magic user. And I say that because I feel it's important to acknowledge a distinction between human magic users and non-human. In the Harry Potter world, we see a number of creatures use what could be called magic, like Gringotts goblins or the house elves, and I mean, it's definitely not just smoke and mirrors. They are very clearly using magic, but at no time are any of these creatures ever referred to as witches or wizards. You could argue it's a different kind of magic, but then in what way? Because even among witches and wizards, there are known various schools of magic. Divination, transfiguration, etc. Could these schools of magic not be considered completely different types of magic from one another? Or is it a matter of our respective spellcasters drawing their power from a different source? In D&D, the lines between spellcasting classes is blurred. Technically, wizards, sorcerers, bards, warlocks, rangers, paladins, druids, and clerics are all spellcasters. But there are three major distinctions here. There are arcane-based spellcasters, divine, and primal. Divine spellcasters typically draw their power from a source like a deity, or directly from their own inner faith, and these classes are paladin and cleric. And then there's primal spellcasters who draw power directly from nature, and these would be the druid and ranger classes. I'm gonna go right on ahead and disqualify these classes right away, if only for that reason. Harry, if not all witches and wizards we meet in the series, are wielders of arcane power, that is to say magical power that inexplicably exists within them. So if Harry's not a wizard, he has to either be a bard, a sorcerer, or a warlock, right? I'm also going to discount bard from our list of possibilities, since bards are defined by being able to influence people's thoughts and opinions through spoken word or with music, among many other mediums of communication, usually entertaining or awe-inspiring, of which Harry is not. On top of being quite average academically, Harry is not exactly a very charismatic person. He gets nervous around girls, gets bullied a lot, and despite standing up for his friends when it really counts, he's usually very quiet and reserved. Personality-wise, if you wanted to pick any character from the Harry Potter series to be a bard, I would sooner think of Fred and George Weasley. They're extroverted, influential, flirty, and otherwise charismatic, the very definition of a bard. But not Harry, so that one's out. Warlocks are similar to paladins and clerics in that their power is sourced from an external entity, albeit in this case, usually an archfey or devil, and we can simply say that just doesn't match Harry either. Or does it? So the last remaining option among our spellcasters has to be sorcerer. And I hate to say it, but he isn't that either. Sorcerers in D&D are defined by simply knowing how to use magic, without needing to learn it in the way a traditional wizard class might. And at best, I would be willing to call this a gray area, since it's arguable that every witch and wizard in the Harry Potter universe could be considered a sorcerer by virtue of being born with magic in their veins, but they still need to learn to use their spells. They still need to hone their skills and practice, and I feel like that isn't in the spirit of what makes one a sorcerer in Dungeons & Dragons. No, as much as I hate to inform you, Harry barely qualifies as a spellcaster at all. After looking over all of the evidence, I have to conclude that Harry, if anything, most closely resembles a rogue. Let's rationalize that. For the first 3 years spent at Hogwarts, Harry seldom uses magic, and what spells he does use could be more closely compared to low-level cantrips. In particular, the Arcane Trickster's Invisible Mage Hand explains away a lot of the spells Harry uses, like Wingardium Leviosa, Accio, Aloha Mora, even Expelliarmus. He also spends a very large amount of time sneaking around, whether it be after hours skulking through the halls to get into places he's not allowed, or venturing into more dangerous places like the Forbidden Forest. Harry becomes very comfortable with sneaking, sleuthing, and even stealing other people's things if he deems it necessary. Of the potential rogue proficiencies, Harry obviously ticks the boxes for stealth, for the aforementioned sneaking, acrobatics, because Quidditch obviously, and deception, as he shows exemplary talent in hiding what he knows from others to his advantage, like in the case of fooling Ron into thinking he drinks Felix Felicis, which gives him the confidence to win at Quidditch. Or there's the case of hiding the Room of Requirement from everyone but Dumbledore's army for a very long time. He's just an expert liar, really, and these qualities perfectly illustrate how a rogue operates, sleuthing and amassing information, and then using it to their advantage. A wizard in any of these situations would sooner resort to cracking a book, or divining helpful information to find answers that way, which Harry never does. If you want to see an example of a true wizard class in the Harry Potter series, I would sooner look at Hermione, as she does lean on books and research for finding information. She also resorts to spellcasting to solve most simple problems she's faced with, clearly proficient in Arcana, Insight, and Perception. When you compare her to Harry, and keep in mind that both these characters were raised as muggles, Harry couldn't look more like a rogue. Let's also take a moment to acknowledge Harry's equipment. Obviously he has his wand, but he also makes consistent use of an invisibility cloak, and not just any invisibility cloak. His is actually revealed to be one of the fabled Deathly Hallows, created by the personification of death, and when worn, renders the wearer truly invisible and concealed from even death itself. In other words, a rogue's dream come true. Harry also possesses the Marauder's Map, an enchanted parchment that not only shows the complete layout of Hogwarts, but reveals the locations of every person inside the castle in real time. Again, an item like this has to be at the top of every rogue's Christmas list, and Harry uses this item a lot. At the end of the day, for all of this evidence, I would be willing to say that Harry is undeniably an arcane trickster rogue with expertise in stealth, acrobatics, and deception, whose playstyle revolves around using items to avoid conflict, if at all possible, and in the event Harry is confronted with violence, uses deception to try and get out of it. I mean, he literally plays dead against Voldemort. And it works! You mean to tell me you think choosing to play dead against the BBEG isn't a rogue tactic? At the very most, I would be willing to say Harry might multi-class 1 or 2 levels into Wizard, only because he very obviously uses his wand as an arcane focus, but for all we know, his primary reason for relying on his wand at all could be to protect him from Voldemort. Since his and Voldemort's wands share phoenix feather cores from the same source, they refuse to harm each other. But since Harry does have an aptitude for the defense against the dark arts, you could also say that by reaching level 2 as a wizard, he was able to attain an arcane tradition in the School of Abjuration. But this still goes mostly unused when you compare it to his rogue behaviors. In any case, this has been my analysis of what D&D class Harry from Harry Potter would be. Comment down below if you agree, or if you feel differently, and let me know why. Did you find this video interesting? If you did, then please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. Your every view, like, sub, and comment really helps me to get seen, and making these videos for you guys to watch is probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. So spread the love and share it with your friends and get their opinion on Harry's D&D class as well. Make sure to hit the bell icon as well so you can get instant updates anytime there's a new upload, and then you never have to worry about missing out again. As always, thank you so much for clicking onto the video and making it all the way to the end. Comment your suggestions for what else you'd like to see, or who else I should make a video about, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one!